Rick Smith here again, and I want to continue what I started yesterday, talking about my story, to give you some background about me and what led me to the point of creating the website yourpathtoweightloss.com. Where I left off yesterday, I was in 1974 and I had graduated from high school, but I should back up for just a minute. I should mention also that my parents had a daughter, my sister, in I think, let's see, 1963 maybe, something along those lines, right around that time, 63 or 64. And then they also adopted another son. So there were 3 boys and 1 girl growing up in my family. So now I can fast forward again to 1974. In June of 1974, I joined the Navy, and the reason I joined the Navy was because I wanted to take training in computers, which I did, and then I was eventually stationed in Rota, Spain. And I was in Rota for several years. I was there until sometime in the winter of 1977. And then at that time, the ship changed home ports from Rota, Spain to Charleston, South Carolina. And while we were in Charleston, the ship went into the shipyards for a while. And so we were there for a good while. I don't remember exactly how long, a little less than 2 years, I think. Because in 1979, I met a girl by the name of Sharon Klein from Gastonia, North Carolina. And we were married in May of 1979. And shortly after we were married, we moved to California. I was still a pretty skinny kid at that point. I was 6 feet 4 inches tall when we got married. I weighed 180 pounds. So I was pretty skinny, and I was enjoying being married. And then a son came along in February of 1980, and we named him Richard Rawlings Smith II. He was the pride and joy of our lives. But let me give you a little background on the trend where things are going here. I was still pretty skinny even at that time, but I didn't work out. I was settling into married life. My wife was a great cook. She could cook Southern food like no other. And I loved it. I loved eating it, and I loved everything about it. I loved being married. I loved my son. And I was just loving life in general at that point. And so I was stationed at the Navy Regional Data Automation Center in Alameda, California, and we lived in Treasure Island at that time. Treasure Island was an old naval base that was used in World War II, and it's since been shut down, but at that time we lived in the Navy, not barracks, but Navy housing, and it was pretty good, actually. And then after that, I tried to stay on shore duty, actually had shore duty one more time. We got transferred back to Charleston, so we went back to the South, and I was stationed at the Mine Warfare Command in Charleston, South Carolina for about a year. However, as much as I tried to stay on shore duty, I actually had to go back to what was called sea duty, and I was then transferred to the USS Dale, which was a guided missile cruiser. And I was transferred to the USS Dale, which was home ported in Mayport, Florida. So we had to move from the Charleston area to Mayport, Florida. And unfortunately, we are out of time again for today's video, so I will pick up this story tomorrow when I continue talking about my story, and I'll continue showing you how this affects my desire and my decision to create your path to weight loss.